So, what are you hearing inside the White House, inside Trump's
Well,
head?
this was kind of, I had been puzzling about this Mamdani thing, as the whole world was puzzling about this.
And this is the press conference with Mamdani going down to D.C.
Yeah, and with this love fest. Trump doesn't have a love fest with anyone except himself. So it was like shocking. So I spoke to some of the people, and particularly one person I speak to often in the White House, and I would characterize this person as quite up close to what is going on. And I said, well, what was everybody's reaction to this? And he said, everybody's reaction was, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, nobody expected that. This was not the script. It was completely out of the blue. And then he added, and concerning.
Concerning. Why concerning? Because I feel like, isn't it? Trump's a typical bully in that, for the most part, I always think of him as actually being quite nice to people's face, and then the minute they leave the room, he's horrible.
No, I think that's a misunderstanding, because remember, it's all Trump on set.
Right.
So the Oval Office is always the message that he wants to send. I am the dominant person. I'm the big guy, you're the small guy. I am angry, and you're going to take it. I am the president, and you're not.
You're a lesser person. You're a lesser president.
Yes.
I suppose you think of Zelensky, and you think of the South African president taking the brunt of him.
Yeah, virtually anybody, he is sending that message, and it's a message of dominance and submission. Except for this, which was my son.
Right.
And so, among the other things, so this person that I was speaking to said, this wasn't just losing the plot. This was like a different guy. The look in his eyes was crazy.
So the look in Trump's eyes as he's looking up to Mamdani.
Yes. They just had never seen this completely different Trump behavior and unexpected. And what causes this? And with Mamdani, this person he has said only terrible things about, the person who, even when Mamdani won, the people in the White House said, great, this really gives us an enemy. Perfect enemy, left-wing, socialist, immigrant. It just fit every category that they needed until he comes to the White House and he becomes the model citizen for Donald Trump's new world.
What about the idea that somehow Trump is playing three-dimensional chess?
I'm glad you asked, because this person who I was who was really just flabbergasted by the whole thing said he doesn't play 3D chess. He has one game, and this wasn't it. And the implication here is that something had happened here. There was some really alarming mood swing.
Is it possible he's had a stroke over the weekend? We had Dr. we had Dr. John Gartner on the podcast last week, and he was saying that there are clear indications that something has gone wrong.
Well,
he's swinging his leg. He's got a droopy mouth.
Would be. This was certainly the suggestion, and the point this person was made, and I think it's a fundamental point about Trump, is that he's always stays in character, which is of course what he does. What is his training? 14 years as a star of a hit reality television show. He is in character, and this person, the view was that this was so weird that that he's on the set, the cameras go on, and suddenly he's playing an absolutely different part. And this person said, and this was as you can see, I wrote this down, all of this down, because this was like riveting. So he says, literally, the only explanation was that the guy forgot who he is. so weird, he says. And then he said, it gives you a 25th Amendment shiver.
Wow, the 25th Amendment being when you can remove the president because he's no longer in sound mental health, sound mental state.
Yes. So at any rate,
wow.
I mean, I don't know. We're just encapsulating that one moment. But the people around Trump saw that moment, and they were, to say the least, startled.
And do we think because Mamdani is very charming, because they'd had a private meeting beforehand where Mamdani had paid homage? Or, I mean, Trump appeared to be enjoying himself. He appeared to really think that this young man was his other son.
The suggestion is that this was so different, and Trump is so good at playing the role, but he clearly was not in that role, out of character, playing a different role. And the view of this person and people around Trump was that they had no explanation for what was going on here. So we can invent an explanation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm interested to know.
It could be a stroke. I mean, it could be. What else could it be? I mean, the idea that he might actually have liked Mamdani is not plausible. First thing, because he doesn't really like anybody, and because he knows that's not the job here. The job is to be the God, to be Donald Trump. Remember, and it's fundamental. What role is he playing? He's playing the role of Donald Trump. And it's the apprentice, it's the guy, I'm the boss, I'm Trump and you're nothing.
Is it possible that he worries about New York because Melania is living here and he wants to make sure she's safe?
What do you think, Joanna?
I'm very curious to know what's going on, or what was going on inside Trump's head when he was with Mamdani. And I thought there were...
Well, I think the implication here is that something untoward was going on in his head. I mean, he had lost the plot.
So I had a couple of observations about the press conference, which I watched a couple of times. One is that his chair was physically too low for the desk. So he looks like he's sitting in a child's chair, and he's not quite high enough. Like you and I are both high at this desk. If you look at it, the desk comes up to here, and he looks strangely small. And Mamdani is unnaturally calm. So he just stands there, he holds his fourth finger and he just stands there. And he's not doing the thing that Elon did, which is sort of twitching and jerking. And Elon's child is picking his nose and wiping the booger on the desk, and Trump is looking horrified. Mamdani actually looks to be the powerful one in the room. Yeah. And Trump just looks like, and then the sort of, you don't have to answer that question, and the constant hand on his arm, like I'm doing to you, was noticeable.
No, everything was off about this.
I mean, is it possible he was just really fatigued?
Of course. I mean, and there's many possibilities, but I think the clear signal that is being certainly sent by this person is that something was off.
Right.
And so we can speculate about what that might be, but the larger point is that Donald Trump never breaks character, is always in character. That is his strength as a politician, except for this moment when something went awry.
Maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation has really gotten to him, and he understands there's something bigger going on.
It's quite possible that a lot of things have gotten to him. The interesting thing, I mean, many people have observed that the presidency, certainly the first time around, really didn't affect him much. All other presidents, you can see their hair going gray. They look haggard. They look like they've been, to say the least, working way too hard. That was never the case for Trump, partly because he wasn't working that hard, gets up late, plays a lot of golf.
Watches television, to be fair, and eats ice cream.
Yes, watches television. I mean, a point that was always made is that his life in the White House was not appreciably different from his life in Trump Tower.
Right.
But maybe, in this year, and we're coming very close to the end of the first year of this presidency, this has been a active year.
It's been a very active year, and the last couple of weeks have been difficult because you have the shutdown, you have the problem with the healthcare premiums, which are doubling. One of the reasons Marjorie Taylor Greene said she was quitting politics, because she could see the impact of it on her daughters, who are going to have their premiums double.
No, and actually that's a good point, which we should note, because I think it's central that he is now considering, again, completely out of character, extending the Obamacare subsidies.
Right. And what's clear is that the Republicans haven't come up with a substitute for Obamacare. And do you remember when he was campaigning, he said, I have a concept for it, I've got some ideas, nothing's materialized. The Republicans haven't come up with anything that's better than Obamacare, even if Obamacare turns out to be pretty broken.
Right. And well, actually, that has been sort of their saving grace. They couldn't come up with anything, so they haven't changed Obamacare. But if the cost of Obamacare goes up, people are going to feel that. I mean, they're really going to feel that. And they are going to blame it not on Obamacare.
No, they're going to blame it on Trump. So is it possible that he hasn't actually understood, because he's not directly impacted by it, that people's premiums are actually going to double, and in some cases treble, which means that people are going to go from paying, say, $800 a month to $1,600, or even up from $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 a month. This is real money, and it's going to impact red states as well as blue.
It's beyond real money. It's real money. It's real money.
Right. It's going to mean a lot of people are going to go bankrupt.
It's not an incremental step up.
Right.
It's a bankrupting step up.
It's a bankrupting step up, and it's also bankrupting for a lot of Republican, Congress people and senators. This is. I don't understand how the Republicans have baked this in and not thought it was bad for them.
Trump, needless to say, is not one of his gifts is not holding two contradictory ideas in his head at the same time. So, and his overriding point here is Obamacare bad.
Right.
I mean, that is the thing. I mean, from the beginning of his political career, Obamacare bad. And he certainly has not. He has not replaced Obamacare. He has not fixed Obamacare. He has not even given much thought to Obamacare, except Obamacare bad. So coupling that with Obamacare bad, but a more expensive Obamacare bad for him, is a complicated.
Right.
It's a little more complicated than Trump is used to.
And especially because I do think the Democrats have been fairly strong in hammering out the message that this is because he's given a tax break to billionaires, to the richest people in society.
None of this is good. And so I think maybe there's a broader issue. Does he realize, and in saying Trump realizes anything is you need a little kind of critical understanding of that. But does he sense in some more profound way than usual that actually things are going against him?
Right.
That there's a whole political ecosystem that's, if not caving in on him, sending up all kinds of warning signs.
Right. Well, you've got the unanimous vote for the release of the Epstein files. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving, and now other people saying that there's been this whole kind of anonymous campaign that other Congress people are going to resign because the Republican Party is a shit show.
Well, even more fundamentally, you have a very, very difficult economy, which, he fundamentally got elected in 2024 on that issue. and he has not been able to, in any meaningful way, create any kind. That has not been ameliorated, and in fact, you can argue that it has only gotten worse.